The short fortune teller that escaped prison was a small medium at large. I'm feeling ferocious today. This month was kind of a failure reading-wise, but you know what? I still have enough materials to do a wrap-up, so I read 9 books, which I know probably doesn't sound like a fail, but I will explain that later. I read this many things this month, and I'm purposefully not showing you the titles because that would be very anticlimactic. The first book I read this month was The Evolution of Mara Dyer, and I love this series so much it physically pains me, and this book was perfection. Oh my goodness. The ending. Why did we have to change the release of the 3rd book from October to June? That is just sinful. Next in the month I read City of Bones by Cassandra Clare, which was actually really good and it kind of lived up to the hype a little bit. The only bad thing about it was that I knew the spoiler, so the whole book I was just foreshadowing. That was very upsetting, but I do not know what happens the rest of the series, and I plan to read the rest of the series. So back to this book, it was awesome, and I'm definitely going to see the movie. This is gonna be amazing. The 3rd book I read was The Duff by Cody Kuplinger, and I finished this in like a day because so many people had recommended it to me, but whenever I finished it, I was very shocked and didn't live up to my expectations, and I was just kind of upset that I didn't enjoy it more. It just wasn't... I personally didn't like the writing style, and the characters were just annoying and bullies, so I didn't really enjoy it that much, but it was a nice read. I think I'll pick up more of Cody Kuplinger's books just to see if this one is just one I didn't particularly like or if it's just her style. Then I read Perfect Chemistry by Simone Alcalese, I think is how you pronounce her last name. This was alright. I don't know. I had an okay reading month. I think it started out amazing because I was like, Noah Shaw during The Evolution of Mara Dyer, but then it went downhill from there. And pretty much everything else I read was just kind of meh. Then for Booktubeathon, I read 1 book. Failure! I read The Great Gatsby the first day of Booktubeathon, and then the second day I began reading Reached, but then literally I just gave up the 2nd or 3rd day because I was getting so distracted and I was in the hugest reading slump like ever, and I knew there was no possible way I was going to be able to force myself through a couple of books. So I forfeited that very quickly, but I did finish The Great Gatsby all in one day. I thought it would be a lot better, but I think that's just because I have such an expectation that classics will be fantastic, but this just was alright. I mean, I'm gonna have to reread it for English next year, so I think that maybe that I'll be able to go back and like see foreshadowing and stuff that I didn't the first time, but it was okay. Then I completed Reached in about 5 days. This took me forever because it was so boring and annoying. I hated the first book in the Match trilogy, loved the second one, and I hate this one. So I don't even know what to think about the series as a whole. It was just a mess. So this took forever to get through, and when I finally did, I was just glad it was over. If you want a review on this, I'd be happy to do one because it's still fresh in my mind and I think I'd be able to do one. Then I read Me and Earl and the Dying Girl, which took me not too long actually, and it got me out of my reading slump after finishing Reached. So that was awesome, and this book was so funny. I loved the perspective. It was just really witty and it was amazing. I don't know why I'm like wiggling it. Ding! Before Booktubeathon, I read about half of The Uglies, and then after Booktubeathon, I read the other half. So I got this a month or 2 ago, and at the time that I got it, I was told that it was so good, so I had this huge expectation for it that unfortunately wasn't met, but I liked it nonetheless, and I think I'm gonna finish the trilogy because it has interesting characters. I do like it. It's just... I kept finding so many Delirium parallels, and I loved Delirium, so I'm thinking maybe I just It's why are you trying to fall out of my hands? I just can't really express fathomable. I need to stop trying to use big words when I'm confused. Then lastly, I finished Prodigy by Marie Lu. Actually, I didn't finish it. I started and read the whole thing, and this was so much better than the first one. Eee! So the first one I have, and I read that I think last month or May or sometime this year, just a little bit ago, and I didn't really like it as much as I thought I would. But I read this one and it was amazing, so I do think that the series will get better and better, and I cannot wait for the third one. Oh my gosh, there's a picture of me that I took of myself. I had seen the cover of Champion for the first time and I was like, I had thought that perhaps I could try and squeeze in Eleanor and Park for this video, but I'm only on page 60 and I was entirely too lazy to read another 300 pages all in one day. Because it's already 4 o'clock and that's pretty much impossible because I'm so distracted by the internet this summer. I swear if the internet didn't exist, I would be reading double what I did this month. So that was all that I read for the month of July. I'm going to be posting a TBR video soon, so until then, I guess I will just depart with these last words. Goodbye, folks.